Esteban Gutierrez, Isola, and McMullen. You guys, feeling a draft?
That's actually a little warm.
Desperate teams taking desperate measures to draft big men in big suits. Also, closed out in the NBA, and that time you were making your first major league start, your mom was being interviewed on live television, and you gave up your first home run.
That's welcome to the big leagues, Mom.
But it's okay, Mom left it off. There we go, all right.
Radiant.
That's a good point. She is crying after the cameras were turned off. She was crying.
We wait. Our biological clocks are ticking like this. And then it finally comes, and we're like, NBA, NFL draft tonight? Sure, why not? You guys see the Ed Werder report that the Bucs don't plan on informing Jameis Winston or whoever they draft number one that they're number one until the clock starts, the 10-minute countdown? Kalisha, are you sure? Are you positive the Bucs are with Winston here at number one, and should they be?
Well, I talked to Ed Werder yesterday. I said, is there a 1% chance they call out a different name?
And?
He went into this long answer about how thorough they've been in their investigation, and he concluded saying, well, if something happened between now and 8 o'clock, well, I guess there is a 1% chance that they could call out a different name. But that's really all it is. They're going to go with Jameis Winston. I agree with John Gruden. I think Marcus Mariota is the best player in the draft. I don't really understand why people just think it's just this completely different position. He has no idea how to play quarterback because he's been at Oregon the last 2 years. I think he can figure out a lot of the changes.
You would draft Mariota, but you're pretty sure the Bucs are going with Winston. How about you?
I'm sure they're going to take Winston, yes.
Well, Tim, you said something interesting, which is the last 2 years. And this is where we all made our assessment over these quarterbacks over the last 2 years. And now all of a sudden, we're going to flip-flop them because there's a strong, momentum for one guy over the other late in the process. I don't necessarily buy that. I think the Bucs are going with Jameis Winston, number one. And here's my theory on Jameis Winston. He's one of those guys that just his whole life has just been an elite athlete. He's been great at sports and at football in particular. So maybe he's had a little bit of an entitlement. Maybe he feels a little bit of an invincibility. But more than anything else, he's a competitor, and he's a really smart football player. And I think if he goes to the NFL, focuses on his craft, I think he's going to be very,
Frank,
very good.
what did you make of Tampa Bay not, tipping their hand? We've seen teams do that every year in this draft.
Yeah, of the two Utes, I like Mariota better, but I think in this case, what the NFL doesn't want teams doing is announcing who they're going to pick beforehand. This is trying to add some drama into it. Remember, they've asked the media not to tweet out the names of guys who are going to get drafted.
So you think this is coming down from the NFL here? It's not any uncertainty in Tampa.
This has been the worst kept secret for the longest time. That's why everyone was talking about trading up to get Mariota at number 2 as opposed to at number 1, because Winston's going to go number 1.
Jackie Mack, how about you?
No question that Winston's going to go to 1. Remember, at the beginning, before all the draft starts, whatever you heard then usually ends up being true at the end. And all the rest of it in between is noise. Here's what you need to know about the Buccaneers, and that was they didn't care at all about his off-the-field stuff. They did their due diligence, and that was not going to be an issue with them. Once I heard that, I knew he was going number 1. But I'm with Tim. I would take Mariota if it were my choice. I think he is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. And this idea, again, about not being able to play under the system, nonsense. NFL teams are using their stuff.
Well, teams want Mariota. Maybe not Tampa. There's the Mike Flory report. Eagles are doing all that they can to get him at number 2. Chargers may be interested in moving up. Browns may be interested in moving up. The Jets are wondering if he'll drop or if they should do something Jetsy, move up. Israel, if you're the Titans, are you taking the best offer for number 2?
Well, if I'm the Titans, first of all, I'm patting myself on the back for dealing with this issue so well. They've had this number 2 pick. They sort of, has been very secretive as to what they're going to do, and they're going to get offer after offer after offer. Now, I think if the offer is overwhelmingly good, you take it, of course. Other than that, though, I think you got to take the quarterback here. I mean, how often are you going to get a chance to have a franchise caliber quarterback? You don't have one. I don't care what you say about Zach Mettenberger. You don't have one in the books right now, and unless you're going to compile a ton of draft picks and somehow turn that into maybe next year a quarterback that you fall in love with, I don't really see
so you draft QB.
So unless you get Phillip Rivers in a trade situation, I would draft him.
Well, that's on the table too, apparently. How about you, Isola?
Yeah, the last 2 quarterbacks they drafted in the top 8, Vince Young, Jake Locker, now both retired. I do not think they're going to take Marcus Mariota. I don't think he runs the kind of offense that Wisenhunt runs in Tennessee. I think they're in a great position. Hold on to it for as long as you can, then make the right deal. And we know that Chip Kelly wants Mariota. That's his quarterback. That's his system. They're the team to look out for with the number 2 pick.
Jackie Mack?
How awesome would it be that if Mariota ended up in Philadelphia? That, to me, is just the great scenario. If I'm Tennessee, though, I'm not letting Mariota go. I'm taking him. And I know they have needs all over the place. They have needs on their defensive line. They need a wide receiver. They need all sorts of things. But an elite quarterback in the NFL, it's the most important position. It can change teams around. We've seen example after example of that. So bring all the offers.
We've seen example and example why it hasn't worked, too. I mean, they are the example. As Frank just said, their last 2 first-round picks have already retired in their 20s. Kalishaw, you want to join us? We'll get back to you.
Yeah, I'm with Frank. Tennessee has no idea what to do with quarterbacks taken high in the draft. Zach Mettenberger taken on the 3rd day last year at LSU. His arm is every bit as strong as these 2 guys. He has a little mobility issue because he had his knee shattered at LSU, but it wasn't that big a problem last year. I would take whatever bounty of picks somebody wants to send me, whether that's Cleveland, whether that's Eagles through Cleveland. I would look hard at dealing this.
Jackie, back in.
Well, I just was going to say, I don't know that we can compare Jake Locker, for instance, to Mariota. I just don't remember that there was interest in Locker, but I don't remember the hoopla and the same kind of expressions.
But Vince Young had the Heisman. Vince Young had similarities there.
But Vince Young's a completely different kind of quarterback.
Of course. Gutierrez.
If you look since '93 in the cases where quarterbacks have gone 1-2, if you consider RG3 a bust already, there's been a bust out of one of those 2 every single time. So maybe Tennessee's saying they're taking their name out of the equation.
Okay, that doesn't mean it will be this year, but you're right. I mean, that's Leaf and Manning, of course. That's Meyer and Bledsoe.
Yeah,
okay. We've been horn. We'll move on. Basketball now. And the news of the afternoon. Billy Donovan, head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder. There was report the other day that Sam Presti was not consulting with Durant or Westbrook on the decision. We're not sure we know that remained true through it all. Frank, what do you think of the hire?
You know what? I think it's a great move for Billy Donovan. How many times you walk into an NBA team with Westbrook and Kevin Durant? I get a feeling that Durant is all in on this one because he came out after Scott Brooks was fired, said he supported the move. He's behind the organization 100%. Getting Westbrook now to buy into the fact of having Durant back, that'll be the challenge for Billy Donovan.
Jackie Mack.
Sam Presti, as we all know, a very conservative guy, keeps everything close to the vest, but that doesn't mean that he's not communicating with his players on a daily basis. I find it hard to believe that they didn't have some idea of where he was going with this and why he was doing it. We know that Billy Donovan's been an NBA possibility for many years. I think he's going to be a great hire. I've watched what Brad Stevens can do right from college. I think Billy Donovan's going to have the same kind of success.
Kalishaw.
First of all, I wouldn't have fired Scotty Brooks. But if I'm Sam Presti and I decide that's what I need to do and I need to make a coaching change, I don't need to talk to any players. I'm supposed to do my job and go get rid of coaching.
Okay, I'd be interested to see if everyone on this panel agrees with that.
However, and if I'm Billy Donovan, I just consider myself lucky. I almost went to Orlando, decided not to do that, and now I get Kevin Durant and Russell. We went for a day. And now I get Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. That's pretty fortunate.
Okay, Israel Gutierrez, you're a Florida Gator, and also you're an NBA reporter. Where do you come down on this?
I come down on thinking that Billy Donovan is ready for this job. It's a great job for him, obviously. And Jackie mentioned Brad Stevens there. Look, Billy Donovan made the Final Four before he turned 36. Brad Stevens did that. It was the next coach to do that after him. They have a lot of similarities. Billy obviously took a lot more time in college, but I think Billy, and when it comes to talking to your players in terms of the hiring of the coach, there has to have been some level of communication there. It's not like he's just leaving his players out in the
So you believe there was communication. Frank believes there was communication. Tim, you said there was no need for communication because the GM should be the one ruling here. Jackie, where were you on that?
Well, I think the GM should have the final say in that, but I just think any smart GM, especially one who's going to have Kevin Durant as a free agent next summer, I'm sure that they discussed it just a little bit, don't you?
All right. Israel, talk to us about the Gators. This was a school that wasn't really a basketball school before Billy Donovan. Where are they now after?
No, I mean, they made a Final Four with Lon Kruger. Basically, it's going to tell you, it's going to be a test of just how strong the franchise is, the program is, but also how great of a coach Billy Donovan was. In the 19 years, did he build them up to one of the better programs, or was it just everybody following Billy Donovan? It's going to be a great question.
Any names you're interested in here?
Archie Miller and Dayton seems to be a hot name. That would be very much like a Billy Donovan type.
Jackie?
What about
I wonder a lot about Richard Pitino only because of...
Two Patinos, two young Patinos there on plasmas 3 and 4. Kalishaw?
He is still a work in progress, but the Archie Miller pick would be a good one.
All right. We've been Horn. We're going to take a break. Iceman in the lead, going into by herself. Coming up, the preview to the preview, to the posing, to the weigh-in, to the fight.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Buy or sell.
Tonight, San Antonio, season on the line for the Los Angeles Clippers. The Spurs are 34-13 all-time in closeout games in the Pop era, which is good, but not unbeatable. They lost 4 at home. Kalisha, do you like the Clippers' chances in San Antonio tonight?
No, I really don't. I mean, they got the series back in their favor when they won Game 4, but I think they blew it when they let Game 5 at home get away from them. It's hard to win twice in one series in San Antonio. I don't think
Israel?
I don't think they have a great chance. Like, for them to come out this series, obviously they have to win tonight, but they have to play with that same type of San Antonio Spurs desperation that the Spurs played with all of last postseason. I know Chris Paul has that in him. I don't know if everybody else in that Clippers team has.
Isola?
I actually think the quick turnaround and the travel actually hurt San Antonio. The Clippers have a chance, but the last game they were 1 for 14 on threes. They missed 16 free throws. Can they win a game on the road in a close game? Because Blake Griffin never seems to come through.
You like the Clippers going into the series. Are you sticking with that pick? You still like them tonight? What needs to be different tonight?
I think they're going to need Chris Paul to play a lot better, and down the stretch, they have to make plays. Blake Griffin was 1 for 9 in the fourth quarter of the last game.
So it's the fourth quarter for you. How about Jackie Mack?
Yeah, I agree, and I also think you need more from that bench, Frank. We know that the San Antonio bench is what tips the scales for them in every game. I will say this, though. Blake Griffin is a really tough matchup for them, and Tony Parker is beat up. He is not the same, and when he's not the same, that affects the way all the Spurs play because he's obviously handling the ball.
Maybe Pop will rest his guys in tonight. Buy or sell too, the Grizzlies dispatching the Blazers last night and now staring down the barrel of the Golden State Warriors. Mike Conley, question mark. How big of a challenge do the Grizzlies present the Warriors, Israel?
Not a huge challenge. I mean, a little bit better than the Pelicans, but not great. I mean, look, the Warriors are too explosive offensively, and that's one area where Memphis cannot hang in with them. They're also getting David Lee back, and look at his numbers the last 2 years against Memphis. He's basically averaged about 19 and 9 against Memphis. So I think Golden State's going to probably win this in 5 or 6.
Yeah, Mike Conley Jr. is the definition of beaten up. I feel badly for him. Who knows how effective he'll be when he does finally play. The advantage that Memphis has is inside with Gasol and Zach Randolph. They have to be able to slow the game down, pound the ball inside. I think they have a chance.
We saw that first time they met this season when they snapped Golden State's 16-game winning streak. It was all in the front court. Jackie, can they do that again over a series?
Well, they're going to have to, and really, the Grizzlies are built for the postseason because we always know the game slows to a crawl. You have to be able to play a half-court game.
You're saying there's a chance here?
There's a chance, but no chance if Conley can't play really well. Here's the only thing that goes against them. Golden State has Draymond Green and also Bogut, so they have size to match that double post-up, and most teams don't have.
Kalisha, how about you?
I think Memphis has a toughness that they can win those games that New Orleans should have won at home, but they couldn't quite finish the deal. So they can make this series go, I would say 6 games at the most, but it's probably going to go 5 games. Golden State's going to win.
Buy or sell 3. Quote, this is the most important week in the history of boxing. Quote, what's going to sustain boxing is if this is a great fight. Paraphrase, a great fight is the only thing that will have boxing continue to make headlines the way it is now, end quote. And paraphrase, excuse me. That's Oscar De La Hoya in promotion mode. Frank, you with Oscar that this fight needs to be great?
Well, I think it definitely needs to be great, but I think the cat's already out of the bag. I don't think boxing is ever going to be what it once was. And look at Pacquiao. He's all smiles. I wish these two guys didn't like each other. It's almost like they're in business together just for a huge payday, not really for a fight.
Jackie Mack?
Pacquiao's smiling, Frank, because the guy finally said yes, even though he doesn't want to be in this fight. That's why he's smiling. I think this fight has to be great, but even if it does, I just don't know if boxing can make it. They showed that slow-mo of Pacquiao getting knocked out, talked about the torque and force. That's a brain trauma waiting to happen. In today's age, how can boxing continue?
Kalisha, what did you make of De La Hoya saying it needs a huge fight to be good for
I think that's wishful thinking on his part. This fight, there's not going to be any kind of carryover. If it's great, that's wonderful. But is it really going to lead to a trilogy? Are these guys going to be fighting when they're 45? I don't think so, and there's no carryover into other
Israel?
weight classes.
Well, that was my thought exactly, except on the other end of it. I do think if it does become intriguing, if there is sort of a surprise in this first fight, if it does become a rematch after rematch, a trilogy, as you say, then I do think it can sustain boxing, as Oscar De La Hoya said, for a few years. But in terms of bringing it back to any sort of high level that it was in the past, I think that's, that's wishful thinking.
It's great. A trilogy. We can get to where Stallone and De Niro were in this movie. If you find in their 40s and 50s and 60s. Israel, you're the first to go. You got a couple uneliminations in your back pocket from winning the tournament.
You know what? I'm using one. I want to use
There we go. All right.
Wow.
Tim Kalishaw. You know what that means?
I'm already upset.
This is what happens right here. Tim Kalishaw off the program. He was eliminated by Israel.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Lightning round next.
What a knockout
Rizzy,
punch.
Frank, and Jackie. Coming up, Love Out from Under the Knife, which sounds like a Motley Crue song. Or
ESPN Radio, bringing you directly to the biggest events in sports.
Center field, well hit, Hunter back, out of here!
From opening day of baseball,
Go to the plate, safe at the plate!
right through the World Series.
For the third time in 5 seasons, the San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
Whether it's LeBron, Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant, when the NBA tips off, ESPN Radio is right there when a champion is crowned.
We have a new world champion. The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
And when the magic of bowl season arrives, ESPN Radio is your home for the new college football playoff.
The college football playoff first national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The biggest events in sports can be found right here on ESPN Radio.
Isola 19, McMullen 17. Interesting strategery from Israel Gutierrez, using the unelimination. You got a lot of work to do in the lightning round.
Phone a friend.
Kevin Love, 4 to 6 months of healing post-surgery, and something to think over while he's doing that, his option to become a free agent. Israel, you're Kevin Love. How are you approaching this offseason?
I'm Kevin Love. Well, if I'm Kevin Love, I'm out of there. You know, the relationship with the teammates hasn't been great. The actual game hasn't been great in terms of his numbers and his ability to flourish there. And, yeah, I'm looking at the situation like I can probably win any number of places. Do I have to win here? No, it doesn't have to be here.
You started with the relationship with the teammates, though. So you think what happened in the last couple of months was enough for him to say, peace, I'm out of here?
I think so. Why not?
Okay. Frankie, how about you?
I'm thinking I'm Kevin Love. If we didn't win the championship with a healthy me this season, they were going to blame me. Now they're going to realize how much they missed me, and next year they're going to miss me because I won't be back. But I'll tell you what, if you're Cleveland, you better do a sign and trade because Wiggins won Rookie of the Year today. That means Wiggins and Love, you didn't get nothing back.
Jackie Mack?
I'm Kevin Love, and I'm thinking, yeah, LeBron, you want to get on my case? Well, I'm going to sit back and watch, see what happens to you while I'm sitting here. And the
You guys are
numbers go down.
spiteful on this show, man.
You told us to be Kevin Love.
Yeah.
You told us to be Kevin Love. But you know what? If I'm Kevin Love and you don't win, I may sign for 1 year, see if we can win one more time, and wait for that huge free agent pool in 2016,
That's the point,
baby.
Jackie. That he can
Show
sign
me the
for
money.
1 year, try it again with a healthy, go for it one more time, and then become a free agent. But
There
that's
you go.
very big free agency offseason. We'll move on. Lightning 2. The Astros. No longer the Lastros. Hottest team in baseball. 46-18 is what the scoring is over the last 5 games. They're 4 clear in the division, Frank. Are you a believer?
Absolutely. You know, this is the money ball delight, this team. You think about it, they have good pitching, they catch the ball, timely hitting. Dallas Keuchel, Colin McHugh, the Astros are 9-0 when those two guys start.
Jackie Mack.
Yeah, Dallas Keuchel 5-0 in his starts, and we knew that they could hit, but did we know they could play defense? Did we know they could steal bases? George Springer has stolen 8 bases already so far this year.
Gutierrez.
There you go.
Yeah, you're not going to lose that. Your ability to be smart around the bases, your ability to hit the ball. They were expected to hit the ball going in. You add young pitching to that, which is always going to be a surprise element. You never know how good they're going to be. Obviously, you can sustain this. The defense maybe is not as sustainable because they're young. But the rest
They make the playoffs? They're going to win this division? I mean, everybody's buying them. Now I want to sell them. Oh, okay. I didn't know we were talking about the playoffs. It's a division. They only got to be better than 4 teams. Israel, you are the low man again. Will you use another unelimination in this show?
I was a little frustrated the last segment. I'm not as frustrated anymore, and I fully respect Jack McMullen. No offense, Tim Kalishaw.
Okay. That would have been something. If you would have used 2 to get into a showdown just to lose, that would have been hysterical, though. Frank, Jackie, showdown next. Straight ahead, reason 4,362 why moms are the best. Bulls, Bucs, showdown 1. And the question, Frank, what does Milwaukee have to do tonight at home to force Game 7?
Keep listening to Jason Kidd. He's done a great job getting this team ready to play. They're together. And back off of Derrick Rose. 0 for 7 on threes. He can't make three-point shots, and he keeps taking them.
Here's what they need to do, Frank. They need to keep getting up in their grill defensively. Do you realize that they're forcing 18.6 turnovers a game against the Chicago Bulls?
One of the best.
That's a gaudy number.
Only 3 teams have made an 0-3, a 3-3. Anybody want to guess one of them, the most recent one?
Portland.
Portland is right, yes. The Blazers in 2003, Frank.
Lucky.
Well done. Showdown 2. Your first major league start where you thank your mom effusively in the pregame. She flies cross country, but then while she's on live television, you lit up your first career home run. Describe the moment for Michael Lorenzen and Mom, who laughed it off, Jackie.
First of all, what a wonderful, polite young man. Second of all, how does that mom look so fresh after such a long trip? Third thing, here's why moms are great. He hit a home run. The mom doesn't care. He also got his first career hit.
The mom is lovely. The reporter is out of line. This is why I stand away from everyone at my kids' games, because I don't want people asking me about the Knicks, how they keep scoring on around the horn.
Okay, all right, Frank. Duly noted. Point for each. FaceTime's going to New York. Frank, guys.
Hey, it's as everybody knows, it's a big night in Tampa, not just because the Bucs have the #1 pick. The Lightning won a Game 7 with their goalie, Ben Bishop, 28 years old. Last year, hurt his wrist, was unable to play. He shut out the Red Wings. Now he gets the Canadiens. If he wins that, he could get the Rangers. That would be knocking out 3 of the original 6 to get to a Stanley Cup final. I'm all about Ben Bishop. Hockey Town USA is in Tampa.
Ooh. I'm glad you did that, Frank. Ben Bishop, I heard he had an assist last night, too, as well as everything else.
That's right, final go.
To do it, folks, thanks for coming around on a 23.5-hour break. We'll see you tomorrow. Robert Holmes.
2 of baseball's best go head-to-head in interleague action when the Tigers head to St. Louis to face the Cardinals. The pregame at 7 Eastern, first pitch at 8, Sunday on ESPN and ESPN Radio.